My pulse raced, a frantic rhythm of dread and defiance, as I stood trapped in a body that wasn't mine. Sheer panties clung to me, white pantyhose shimmered like a second skin, and a bra stuffed with socks propped up a pink party dress that screamed femininity with its lacy white frills. The hem teased my knees, 3 petticoats flouncing with every trembling step, betraying the boy I'd always been. My hair, once yanked into a tight ponytail, now fell in lush ringlets, a gaudy pink bow pinning them back. Earrings pink and white dangled heavily, my lips smeared with garish lipstick, the air thick with cloying perfume that mocked me. Mom's command was absolute. Resistance was futile. Then I saw myself in the mirror, and my breath hitched. Damn. I wasn't just convincing as a girl I was striking, but that dress? It had to go before it erased me completely. I hadn't done anything wrong, hadn't betrayed her trust in any way, yet Mom had taken the word of a stranger who claimed I was at fault. Her punishment was this: to dress me up like some doll and parade me as proof of my supposed guilt. She led me to the family room, camera in hand, snapping pictures that burned my cheeks with shame. Then, she drove me to confront the woman who'd accused me. When we arrived, the woman's face crumpled at the sight of me, tears welling as she confessed it was another boy who'd done it. Her apology tumbled out, heavy with regret, but Mom wasn't having it. She tore into the woman, demanding she cover the cost of every stitch I was wearing, plus compensation for the humiliation I'd endured. The woman, chastened, wrote a generous check, and we left, the car's silence thick with unspoken tension. "I'm sorry, honey," Mom said finally, her voice soft but strained. She sounded so certain it was you. "I told you where I was," I snapped, anger bubbling up. "You didn't even check. You just assumed I was guilty and forced me into this." "I know," she sighed, her hands tightening on the steering wheel. "I should have believed you. I was wrong." We drove on in silence, the weight of her apology settling uneasily between us. Then she spoke again, her tone shifting to something lighter, almost teasing. "You do look darling as a girl, you know. If we dressed you up a bit more your age, maybe—" "No way!" I cut her off, my voice firm. "I'm never doing this again." "I'm just saying," she persisted gently. "You could stay like this until bedtime. Just at home, no one else will see you. Would you do that for me?" I shot her a look, doubt and frustration warring inside me. "Why should I? You didn't trust me when I told you the truth. You know I don't lie to you, and now you want me to prance around like this all day?" "You don't have to," she said, her voice softer now. "Annie, I think you look lovely, and I thought you might think so too." "Not in this getup," I muttered, and the moment the words left my mouth, I knew I'd slipped. Mom's eyes lit up, seizing the opening. She promised something different, just for the day, and before I could backtrack, I'd somehow agreed. When we got home, she wasted no time. The party dress and petticoats came off, replaced by another dress still pink with white trim, but simpler, like the ones I'd seen girls at school wear. She handed me new shoes, and I slipped them on, stealing another glance in the mirror. The girl staring back wasn't just passable, she was striking, and that scared me more than anything. Mom brushed out my hair, parting it down the middle, then left me with a casual mention that dinner would be ready at 5. I lingered in front of the mirror, caught between shock and a strange curiosity. I didn't want to admit it, not even to myself, but it wasn't as bad as I'd expected. The thought felt dangerous, like a betrayal of who I was. With hours to kill before dinner, I couldn't hide in my room forever. I wandered into the family room, where Mom sat knitting, her needles clicking softly. She didn't say a word as I sank onto the couch and flicked on the TV. By some cruel twist of fate, the screen lit up with a talk show featuring boys who wanted to be girls. I wanted to change the channel, to run from it, but curiosity rooted me to the spot. The first boy or girl, as there was no other word for her, stepped out, blonde hair framing a face that radiated confidence. She wore hip-hugger pants, a tube top, and short heels, every inch of her stunning. The next was a brunette, taller, with a fuller figure, dressed in a skirt and blouse, just as captivating. Then came another blonde in a pink suit jacket and gray skirt, poised and graceful. They were 15, 17, and 15, each explaining why they felt like girls, their mothers joining them to share stories of support and transformation. I watched, transfixed, as they modeled outfits with an ease I couldn't fathom, their femininity so seamless it was impossible to see the boys they'd once been. The television's glow faded, leaving a heavy silence between Mom and me. We didn't speak, but the weight of what we'd just watched those boys transformed into girls, radiant and confident, hung in the air, mingling with the reality of my own reflection. I'd sworn I'd never dress like this again, that the frilly little girl outfit was a humiliation I'd never repeat. Yet, in this simpler dress, the one that mirrored what girls my age wore, I couldn't deny the flicker of something new. I liked how I looked, even if admitting it felt like stepping off a cliff. The thought alone made my head spin. Was I losing it? Those girls on the screen, their ease, their beauty, had sparked a quiet comparison in my mind. With a little effort, could I look like that too? I shoved the thought down, afraid to voice it, especially to Mom. But her gaze, steady and knowing, seemed to see right through me. An hour later, as I sat with my knees pressed together, hands folded in my lap, Mom's voice broke the quiet. "If you're willing," she said, her tone casual but deliberate, "I'd love to get you a few more outfits. You could be just as lovely as those girls we saw on TV." Her words landed like a stone in still water, rippling through me. She wasn't wrong. This dress, the way it hugged my frame, felt less like a costume and more like a possibility. But agreeing would mean letting go of the fragile grip I had on my sense of self, the boy I'd always been. How could I admit that wearing this didn't feel as wrong as I'd expected? Why was she even pushing this? The question gnawed at me, and I couldn't hold it back any longer. "Mom," I started, my voice hesitant. "Why do you keep saying I'd be as pretty as those girls? Is that what you want? For me to dress like this? Why? That woman admitted I didn't do anything wrong, so why did you buy this dress? The first one was punishment, sure. But this one, it's like you planned for this to happen. And now you're suggesting I do it again. Why?" Mom leaned back, her knitting needles still for a moment, then sat up straight, her eyes meeting mine. "It's not about turning you into a girl, if that's what you're worried about. I love having a son. But when I thought you'd messed up, I picked out that frilly outfit as a punishment. Then I saw this dress, and I couldn't resist. I got the shoes to match, just in case. And when I saw you in it, I couldn't help but wonder what it'd be like to have a daughter, even just for a little while, maybe once a month. I'd never force you, though. It's just a thought." She paused, her voice softening. "But let's be honest. You haven't grown an inch in a year, while your friends are shooting up, getting broader, stronger. Ethan's already shaving. You try out for every team, and I know you give it everything. But you haven't made one yet. That's not your fault, it's just how things are. Now go stand in front of the tall mirror and tell me you look like a boy right now." I did as she said, my reflection staring back at me. The girl in the mirror wasn't me, not exactly. But she wasn't a stranger either. She was a softer version of myself, not quite cute, but close. Mom stepped behind me, her hands resting lightly on my shoulders. "All I'm saying," she continued, "is that you might find it easier to be a girl than to keep fighting to fit in as a boy. Maybe we could try it, pick out another outfit together." Her words hit hard. My friends had outgrown me, their voices deepening, their shoulders widening, while I stayed small, unchanged. I stared at the mirror, the girl looking back with my eyes, but a different kind of presence. Part of me wanted to reject it, to cling to the boy I'd always been, but another part, quieter, but growing, felt drawn to her. If I admitted it, Mom might understand, or she might take it too far, turning this into something bigger than I was ready for. We stood there, the air thick with unspoken possibilities. Then, a small grin crept across my face, and Mom caught it. "What's so funny?" she asked, her eyebrow raised. All my life I'd fought to keep up, to prove I could compete with the other guys, even when I fell short. I never quit, and that kept my pride intact. But seeing myself like this, something shifted. Dressing as a girl had been forced on me, but now, in this moment, it felt like a discovery, something strange, unexplainable, but not entirely unwelcome. The dress, the reflection, the way it made me feel like I could belong in a new way, it was a path I hadn't considered. All I had to do was let go of my stubborn pride and tell Mom the truth. But if I did, we'd need rules, boundaries to keep this from spiraling into something I couldn't control. I took a deep breath, the words forming, ready to change everything. I squared my shoulders, my voice steady despite the storm inside. "If I'm doing this," I said, "you have to get me everything I need to do it right. I won't be a joke around here. And you can't force me to dress up, you can ask, but it's my choice. If I decide to do it on my own, I'll take your help. But you have to promise never to let on that I'm a boy or do anything to embarrass me. I'm only doing this for you because you said you want a part-time daughter. That's it. Deal?" Mom's smile was warm, but there was a glint in her eye. "Deal," she said. "But I have conditions too. When you're dressed as a girl, you need to act like one. I'll help you with that. If you choose to dress up on your own, I won't embarrass you. And honestly, I'd never do that anyway, no matter what. We'll figure this out together. If you act the part and I call you my daughter, who's going to argue? Sound fair?" I nodded, feeling a rush of confidence, certain I'd come out on top. I could decide when or if I wanted to be a girl, and Mom couldn't make me. But as her words sank in, a flicker of doubt crept up. Maybe I hadn't thought this through as well as I'd believed. Before I could dwell on it, Mom was already moving forward. "Let's go to the store," she said brightly. "You said I need to get you everything to do this right, didn't you?" My own words echoed back, and for the first time, I wondered if I'd outsmarted myself. She touched up my makeup, handed me the lipstick, and waited as I smeared it across my lips, the waxy taste foreign but oddly grounding. Then she passed me a purse, its weight unfamiliar in my hand, and headed for the door. I'd set the rules, and now I had to live with them. That meant going with her, in broad daylight, to pick out a wardrobe for this girl I was becoming. The thought of my friends spotting me, their laughter, their stares sent a shiver down my spine. I stepped outside, heart pounding, and slid into the car, slouching low in the seat as Mom drove. She glanced over, her voice calm but firm. "Sit up straight. Good posture is the first sign of a lady, and since you agreed to act the part when you're dressed, let's start now." I straightened begrudgingly, the purse resting awkwardly in my lap. When we pulled into the store's parking lot, my body froze, every muscle locked in place. Mom waited, patient but expectant, as I stared at the glaring sunlight beyond the car window. With a deep breath, I forced my hand to the door handle, pushed it open, and stepped out, the brightness swallowing me whole. Mom strode toward the store with purpose, and I had no choice but to trail behind, my heart thudding with every step. Inside, she made a beeline for the lingerie section, her hands moving with precision as she plucked 2 bras, 2 packs of panties, a slip, and a padded panty brief from the racks. I followed, dazed, as we moved to the clothing aisles. By the time we left that section, my arms were weighed down with 3 skirts, 4 blouses, 2 tops, a pair of girls' jeans, 2 pairs of heels, 2 pairs of flats, 3 dresses, and a nightgown. Just when I thought we were done, Mom paused at the jewelry counter, her eyes glinting with mischief. "Might as well pierce both ears," she said, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Before I could protest, I was walking out with pink and gold earrings fixed in my lobes, the slight sting a reminder of how far this had gone. Mom beamed as we left, calling it a good start. A start? I was sure I had more than enough clothes. It's not like I'd be wearing them every day. Back home, she insisted I try everything on, starting with the padded panty brief. Each piece fit like it was made for me, the panty brief giving me hips and a rounder shape that made the clothes hang just right. The final outfit was a pleated navy skirt and a white pullover top. I zipped up the skirt, tugged on the top, and glanced in the mirror. My legs looked shapely, the skirt's hem grazing well above my knees, and the top clung just enough to hint at the bra beneath. Mom sat me at the vanity, brushing my hair with gentle strokes before letting me see the result. I stared, stunned. I looked as good as any girl in my class, maybe better. A grin spread across my face before I could stop it, a quiet thrill I couldn't quite name. Mom stayed silent for a moment, then softly reminded me of our agreement, her words carrying a weight I didn't fully grasp. I followed her to the kitchen, then, after some coaxing, out to the patio, the warm air brushing against my bare legs. "You never told me what I should call you, honey," she said, her knitting needles clicking again. "It hasn't mattered until now, but—" I hesitated, the question catching me off guard. "I don't know. Haley, maybe. I like that." "It suits you," she said with a nod, her smile warm as she returned to her knitting, leaving the name to settle between us like a new piece of this strange, unfolding puzzle. The patio was quiet, the afternoon sun casting long shadows as Mom and I sat together, her knitting needles clicking softly. I stood to grab us sodas, my skirt swishing as I moved toward the kitchen. But as I stepped back outside, my heart stopped. Ethan, my best friend in the world, stood right there, his familiar grin lighting up his face. Halfway through the door, I froze, panic clawing at me. Running back inside would only make things worse, so I forced myself forward, handed Mom her soda, and sat at the table, my hands trembling. Sweat trickled down my spine, but Ethan just looked at me, smiled, and turned to Mom. "Where's Dylan at?" "This is Haley," Mom said smoothly, her voice betraying nothing. "She'll be staying with us off and on. I'm not sure where Dylan is right now, but you're welcome to join us and wait." Ethan's grin widened. "Maybe for a bit," he said, settling in. My stomach churned as Mom returned to her knitting, leaving me to navigate this disaster alone. Ethan, true to form, turned on the charm he always used around girls, his eyes lingering on me. "Want to take a ride around the block?" he asked, glancing at Mom for permission. My chest tightened, but Mom saved me. "Best not," she said lightly, and I exhaled, relieved. He stayed a little longer, chatting easily, never once hinting he recognized me. When he finally left, my heart slowed to a manageable rhythm. But the relief was short-lived. I bolted inside to the bathroom, desperation overriding everything else. Mom followed, her soft laughter grating on my nerves. "You thought that was funny," I snapped, convinced she'd wanted Ethan to know. She shook her head, her tone calm but firm. "I promised I wouldn't embarrass you. Haley, that was your rule. Remember? I could have let you go with him, but I didn't. And you held up your end, acting like a proper young lady." "I said you're my daughter, just as we agreed. You can't assume I'm trying to make a fool of you every time someone sees you. You did well with Ethan, handling it like any girl would. But he'll probably be back tomorrow, looking for Haley. What's your plan? Are you going to blame me again when you get nervous?" "No," I muttered, deflated. But Ethan's my best friend. If he finds out, he'll tell everyone, and I'll lose all my friends." "Ethan's not like that, and you know it," Mom said. "Instead of panicking, wait and see if he comes by tomorrow. If he doesn't say anything, maybe you should tell him yourself. That way, he gets the truth." "Yeah, right," I scoffed. "Hey, Ethan, that was me in the cute navy skirt. Hope you don't mind, but I dress as a girl sometimes." "It won't be that bad," Mom said, unfazed. "Not after he beats me to a pulp," I shot back. "Haley, stop it," she said sharply. "You and Ethan have been like brothers since you were kids, sharing clothes, sleepovers, everything. He'd never hurt you. Now calm down, help me with dinner, and then you can change. I changed, but the real test loomed. As I lay in bed, I realized Ethan's interest had been piqued by Haley, and worse, there'd been no time for her to leave. If he came back and knowing him, I'd have to be Haley again. The next morning, Mom confirmed my fears, but added gently that I didn't have to dress up if I didn't want to. She'd find a way to keep my secret. True to her word, she'd stayed within our rules, but in her clever way, she'd left the choice to me. Part of me wanted to just be myself, to slip back into the safety of who I'd always been. But something else, something stronger, was pulling me toward Haley, and I wasn't sure I could turn back. The phone rang as I headed to my room, and Mom's voice carried through the house. "It's Ethan. He's asking if Haley can go riding with him. You need to decide, honey. I can't stall him forever." My stomach twisted, but there was no escaping it. With a shaky nod, I agreed, the weight of the choice settling over me. Mom told Ethan to come by in an hour and led me to my room. "Put on some panties while I find something suitable," she said, already rifling through the closet. She emerged with a pale blue pleated skirt and a sleeveless white top, holding them up with a smile. "This is perfect cute, and it'll keep things discreet. Just be careful how you sit." She handed me a small bra, which we padded with nylons, and guided me through applying makeup, just a light layer of foundation and a touch of blusher. I stepped into the skirt, zipped it up, and pulled on the top, which hugged me tightly. White ankle socks and my gym shoes completed the look, though the skirt's short hem made me nervous. "It's fine for biking," Mom assured me. "Just don't flash your panties." She brushed my hair into a ponytail, trimming my bangs for a more natural look and adding a small blue bow. I cringed at the childish pigtails she'd tried first, and she'd relented, but the bow stayed. A swipe of red lipstick, a spritz of perfume, and tiny blue and white bear earrings finished the transformation. "What do I tell Ethan?" I asked, my voice small. "Who am I?" "That's up to you," Mom said. "If it were me, I'd tell him the truth. He might see more of you, the real you, if he knows." The doorbell chimed, and my heart lurched. That's probably him. "Use my bike, okay, and be a good girl today." Expecting Ethan, I opened the door to find our neighbor instead. Not wanting to make a scene, I called out for Mom, without saying her name, and slipped outside to the garage, grabbing her bike just as Ethan rolled up. "Hi," he said, flashing his signature grin. "Let's head to the pond." I followed, the short skirt fluttering in the breeze, my nerves on edge as I struggled to keep it in place. At the pond, Ethan ran to the water's edge, scanning for fish like always. I set the bike down and joined him, cautious of how I sat. "You're the prettiest girl on the block," he said suddenly, not looking at me. My breath caught. He knew. "Why didn't you tell me?" I was scared," I admitted, tucking one leg under me. I spilled the whole story, the false accusation, the punishment, how I'd found it wasn't so bad, and why I was still dressed as Haley now. He listened, then grabbed his bike with a grin, motioning for me to follow. We rode for hours, stopping for ice cream at the dairy place's treat. "For a pretty girl," he said, making my skin prickle. Back at the pond, we sat close, but not touching, eating our cones in comfortable silence. "You know Jenna?" he said. "She's becoming a real pain. Wants me to take her to the slicer next week." "Yeah, I know her," I said. "If you don't want to go with her, take someone else. Easy." "That's what I was thinking," he replied, smiling. "I want to take you." "What?" I nearly leapt up. "You can't! I'm not a girl, Ethan. Look at me. You're crazy." He grinned wider. "Haley, you make Jenna look like the guy in a dress. With your mom's help, you'd be amazing. You're my best friend. Don't we help each other out?" "I'll think about it," I muttered, "but I'm not promising anything." "If anyone finds out, I'm done for." "Just think about it," he urged. "I'll be with you all night. Do it for me, please." Back home, Mom saw my face and knew something was wrong. When I told her about Ethan's request, tears spilled out. She hugged me tightly. "It's your choice, honey. But your tears tell me you're considering it. If you want to go, we'll find the perfect dress, and I'll make sure you're the prettiest girl there." I couldn't admit it, but the idea didn't horrify me. Wearing that skirt all day had felt normal. I was starting to like it, especially when I dressed my age. Mom's hand covered mine. "If you want to stop being Haley forever, that's fine. But I think you like her more than you're letting on. That scares you, doesn't it? You like being a girl." My head nodded before I could stop it, and tears came again. Mom sat with me, then led me to her room to fix my makeup. Casually, she mentioned a hair appointment could make things easier, suggesting a style that could work both ways. I wanted to say no, but the girl in the mirror, she was me, and I didn't want her to vanish. "I want to be her," I blurted out. "Too soon for that," Mom said gently. "But we can get your hair and nails done and talk to Ethan about this date. If he can prove he'll protect you, I'll let you go. We'll get you a party dress and low heels, okay?" I nodded, and we headed to her salon. The stylist, a friend of Mom's, dyed my sandy blonde hair a uniform blonde, cutting it into a soft, curly, feminine style that grazed my shoulders. My nails were shaped and painted a soft reddish brown, leaving no doubt about who I was becoming. At a shopping mart, Mom handed me pantyhose to try on with white and black low heels. The white pair made my legs look better than I'd expected, and walking in them was easier than I thought. On our street, we spotted Ethan and his mom on their porch. With a wink, Mom pulled into their driveway. I stepped out, joining her as we approached. Ethan grinned, his mom's face lighting up. "This must be Haley. Ethan hasn't stopped talking about you." "Mary," Mom said, "you know what's going on. I'm here to ensure Ethan protects Haley at the dance and treats her like any other girl. She's special, and I won't let her be ridiculed." "I wouldn't do that," Ethan protested. His mom nodded. "We talked this morning. I told him to treat Haley like a sister and protect her. He will." "She's very pretty," his mom added, eyeing my hair. "Tomorrow, we'll find her a dress and everything she needs to look wonderful," Mom said. "Ethan, come by later. Haley might want to change first, but you two should talk." Back home, I swapped my heels for gym shoes, the familiar squeak grounding me as Mom spritzed me with perfume and handed me the lipstick. "Touch up," she said, leaving me to wait for Ethan. He arrived on foot, and we strolled to the pond, the air warm and quiet between us. As we neared the tree by the water, he slipped his hand into mine, his touch startling but not unwelcome. We sat side by side, the grass cool beneath us, and then, without warning, he leaned in and kissed me right on the lips. I froze, stunned, his grin wide as he pulled back. "I won't let anyone bother you, Haley," he said. "You can count on me." "You kissed me," I blurted, scooting away. "Why would you do that?" "Because you're not my sister. You're gorgeous," he said, his voice earnest. I couldn't help it. "Did you not like it?" I couldn't answer, the moment too sudden, too confusing. He knew I wasn't a girl, yet he'd kissed me. Before I could speak, he pulled me close again, his lips pressing harder, longer, his tongue brushing my lips. I let him in, a mix of fear, thrill, and something electric surging through me. When he let go, we were both smiling, though I didn't know why. Overwhelmed, I jumped up and bolted toward the street, only for him to catch my arm, stopping me. "Haley, this is new for me too," he said. "You're just so cute." I couldn't resist. "Maybe we shouldn't," I started, my voice trembling. "Yes, we should," he insisted. "You'll be the best-looking girl at the slicer, and you'll be with me." "Jenna will lose it when she sees you." "Is that what this is about?" I snapped, anger flaring. "Jenna, you're just using me to make her jealous? If that's your plan, Ethan Liam, you can go alone." He reached for me, but I yanked my arm away. Don't touch me. I'm going home. My voice sounded sharp, girlish, but I didn't care. I stormed off, tears stinging my eyes by the time I reached the house. I spilled everything to Mom, every word, every kiss. Instead of calling Ethan's mom, as I'd expected, she sat me down. Boys your age often use one girl to make another jealous, she said. It rarely works. But I saw how Ethan looked at you. He wants to be with you, Haley. Dating's a game, and if you're going to be a girl, you need to learn how to play it. Use your feminine wiles. My what? I asked, confused. She smiled. Girls aren't always sweet when it comes to boys. Ethan likes you, and you like him. When Jenna tries to pull him away, you hold his hand, kiss him, claim him, show everyone he's yours. Now, tell me about Jenna. I described Jenna, and Mom's grin widened. Don't worry, she said. I have an idea. But if you agree, you'll likely need to be Haley most of the summer. The Slicer's the last dance of the year, and with school out, it won't matter. I didn't know what she meant, and by the time I was in my room, I'd forgotten her words, slipping into a nightgown for the first time. It felt nice. Morning came, and Mom had me wear a button-up blouse, a skirt, pantyhose, and flats. I fumbled through my makeup, managing okay, and she helped brush my hair, which sprang back into its feminine shape. After a swipe of lipstick, we left, but I had no idea where until we pulled into a parking lot. The sign read, "The breast of everything." Inside, over 2 hours, I was transformed. Breast forms were glued on, and a special panty erased any trace of the boy I'd been. Standing naked before the mirror, I touched the small, shapely breasts, then the smooth curve below, marveling at how real it felt. Dressing again, the tiny bra no longer fit. So I went without, but the panties and skirt hugged my new curves perfectly. My confidence soared, though Mom kept me in check, insisting I act normal and not like a wild girl. At the mall, I was fitted for a 34A bra with push-up pads, low cut and front fastening. I wore it out of the store. At a lingerie shop, a corselet cinched my waist by 2 inches, giving me a stunning figure. The dress shop was next, and after trying on 10 dresses, we chose a white one with spaghetti straps, a square neckline, and a fitted bodice that flared just above my knees. Back home, I laid everything out, the thrill of my new bra and dress mixing with a deeper realization. Seeing myself naked, undeniably a girl, had cemented something inside me. I loved this, not just the clothes, but the feeling of being her. Stripping down again, I stood before the mirror, the rush of femininity overwhelming. I knew then that being anything but a girl wasn't for me. I slipped into shorts and a top no bra. I realized too late and biked to Ethan's. His mom answered, her eyes scanning me. Haley, does your mother know you're out without a bra? She asked, her tone stern. No, I mumbled. Go put one on, she said. I'll tell Ethan you'll be back. Scoot. I raced home, pulled on the bra, and tugged my shorts tight, leaving no doubt about my new shape. Back at Ethan's, he grabbed my hand, and we ran to the pond. There, he swept me into his arms, apologizing for his words about Jenna. Then he kissed me again, and I warned him, half joking, that if he even glanced at another girl, I'd have his gonads on a platter. He laughed, but I saw him shift, clearly dealing with a problem in his pants he didn't want me to notice funny, since we'd compared ourselves as kids. He promised not to leave me stranded at the Slicer, swearing it wasn't about Jenna. I wanted to believe him, but held on to a sliver of doubt. Still, I wasn't as scared anymore. I knew I could pass as a girl, maybe even prove it if I had to. Ethan walked me home, and I stepped inside to help Mom with dinner, the weight of the dance, and everything it meant settling over me. The day of the Slicer arrived, and by noon, I was deep in preparations. Mom started with a hair remover, its cool tingle spreading across my skin before I rinsed it off in the shower. Then came a bubble bath, a new experience that left my skin softened by the oils. After rubbing in lotion, My body felt as smooth and supple as any girl's my age. I'd learned how to bathe carefully, mindful of my new form, and slipped into high-cut white nylon panties before settling at my makeshift vanity a few boxes topped with a board. I applied foundation, and Mom appeared, suggesting loose powder. It gave my skin a flawless, velvety finish. I used plum eyeliner, a touch of gray shadow, and black pencil to accentuate my eyes, mascara making them pop. A peach coral blusher blend slimmed my face, a trick I'd found worked well. Mom set my hair in rollers with gel, and I fastened the corselet around myself, Mom tightening it to sculpt my waist. The padded panty brief and pantyhose followed, and I stepped into the white dress, Mom zipping it up as I sat for her to finish my hair. The rollers came out, revealing soft curls that framed my face perfectly. I slipped into the white heels, and when Mom wasn't looking, I adjusted the bra to coax out a hint of cleavage, the tops of my breasts just visible. She handed me a new perfume, a first date gift, she said, and its light floral scent wrapped around me. I swapped my earrings for pink pearls and added the matching choker, keeping it simple. Standing beside Mom in front of the mirror, I saw it. I looked like her more than ever. She handed me a new lipstick, which I applied, then grabbed my purse from the desk. My wallet wouldn't fit, so Mom told me to take only the lipstick, a small brush, her cell phone, and a $20 bill. I wanted to wait in the family room, but Mom insisted I make an entrance and return to my room 10 minutes before Ethan arrived. Nervousness buzzed through me, but when she called my name, I stepped out, descending the stairs carefully. Ethan and his mom stood in the hall, her eyes widening, his mouth agape. "Damn," he said, breaking into a grin. "Haley, you're stunning," his mom said. "I had no idea." "She's gorgeous, Mom, I told you," Ethan added. Mom snapped a roll of photos before Ethan's mom drove us to the school. I gripped his hand tightly as we entered, my nerves fraying until he pointed it out. He introduced me to his friends, my friends too, and none recognized me. At Jenna's table, her glare was venomous, but I smiled sweetly and let Ethan guide me away. When the music started, he led me to the dance floor, and I followed his steps, surprised at how easy it was. After a few soft drinks, he excused himself, and I headed to the ladies' room, a first in public. I managed, but as I washed my hands, Jenna and her friends surrounded me. "Ethan's mine, little girl," she hissed. "Stay away after tonight." I met her gaze. "If he's yours, why'd he ask me? Maybe you're not his type, or he doesn't like pushy girls. I'm with him tonight, tomorrow, and probably the day after. Find someone else." I touched up my lipstick and walked out, hands trembling. Ethan wasn't at our table, and before I could panic, Logan asked me to dance. I agreed, and we danced a few songs before he led me back. Ethan was there, talking to Jenna. Logan started to leave, but Ethan stopped him. "You and Jenna are both alone," he said. "Haley and I are together. Maybe you two should pair up." Looking at me, he added, "I just told Jenna I asked Haley to be my girl, and she said yes." I caught his wink, smiled, and took his hand. "It's true," I said. "I tried to tell you, Jenna. Ethan's mine. Logan's here. Maybe you two should get together." Jenna grabbed Logan's hand, practically dragging him away. "That went well," Ethan said, squeezing my hand. "Jenna wanted to know everything about you, age, school, where you live. I told her to ask you herself." "How'd I do?" I asked. "Catty," he said with a grin, pulling me back to the dance floor. As the night wore on, couples slipped away to quiet corners. Ethan led me outside to the big tree, the night cool but not cold. He stopped, looked into my eyes, and asked, "Will you be my girl?" Before I could answer, he kissed me, deep and warm. A shiver ran through me, emotions I'd never known pulling me closer. I whispered, "Yes." His mom drove us home soon after, and at my door, with her watching, he kissed me again. As I stepped inside, I felt like I was floating. the night alive with a magic I couldn't explain. 2 days after the slicer, an invitation to Jenna's pool party arrived. I showed it to Mom, who laughed and said it was time I got a swimsuit anyway. At the mall, I tried on several, including a modest bikini that covered me well, but without my corselet or waist nipper, my shape wasn't quite right. I chose a one-piece with built-in support, more revealing than the bikini, which was exactly why I picked it. Mom raised an eyebrow but let it slide. We also grabbed better-fitting shorts, another skirt, and girls' gym shoes. On the drive home, Mom warned that Jenna would likely wear something skimpy to win Ethan over, while trying to make me feel small. I wasn't worried, no way she'd outshine me. At home, I slipped into the swimsuit, new shorts, and gym shoes, then headed to the pond. The sun warmed my face, the breeze teasing my hair, and I felt alive, every doubt about being a girl gone. I'd stood up to Jenna at the dance, kept my composure, and won Ethan's heart. Logan had noticed me too. I knew Jenna would try something at the party, what, I wasn't sure, but I was ready. Mom had cautioned that Ethan, like any boy, could be fickle, swayed by a pretty face. If he strayed, she said, don't take it personally, just move on. I lingered by the pond, then headed home, my resolve firm. On the day of the party, I prepared meticulously, packing my swimsuit in a bag and opting for tan shorts, a thin pink top, and gym shoes. Ethan picked me up, and we biked 10 blocks to Jenna's. Her mom was warm, her dad's gaze lingering too long on the girls. Jenna was all smiles, but her eyes betrayed a scheming glint. Ethan and I mingled, chatting with everyone, until it was time to change. I joined the girls, slipping off my top, shorts, and bra without hesitation, then stepped out of my panties. As I pulled on the swimsuit, I caught Jenna staring and grinned to myself. Grabbing my towel, I left the others to change. Ethan, in his Speedo, looked striking, his eyes widening when he saw me. Jenna and her friends appeared soon after, and I got a good look at her, taller, well-built for our age, but I held my own. I smiled, she scowled. Ethan couldn't stop staring at my chest. Jenna plopped down beside us, her tone casual but pointed. I heard a boy named Dylan lives where you do, Haley. Are you… Dylan? I'd expected this. Weren't you the one staring when I changed? I shot back. You saw me naked. I thought you were going to ask me out yourself. Since you know I'm a girl, not some boy named Dylan, is that what this is? You want a date? Snickers rippled from the other girls, who'd also seen me change and backed me up, telling Jenna she was off base. Furious, she stormed off, humiliated not just by her failed jab, but by my comment about her staring. Ethan and I stayed for 3 hours, laughing and splashing, before I went to change. Chloe, Jenna's friend, was there too. Jenna can be such an ass, she said. So, ignore her, she'll give up. As I slipped off my swimsuit, standing naked briefly, I pulled on my panties, bra, top, and shorts. Chloe added, some girls wondered if you were Dylan, but after seeing you, I know better. And a lot of them want Ethan, he's a total hunk. I nodded, not surprised. Ethan was a catch, and I was ready to fight for him, no matter what Jenna or anyone else tried. Ethan and I spent the next month inseparable, our bikes carving paths to the pond, our laughter mingling with the summer breeze. But as the days shortened and school loomed, we drifted, our connection fading like a sunset. I couldn't go back to being the boy I'd been. Haley was who I was now, undeniable and real. Mom saw it too, and with a quiet nod, she changed my name legally. That fall, I stepped into school as Haley, my heart racing but steady. I tried out for the cheerleading squad, something I'd never dared before, and when my name was called as part of the team, a thrill surged through me, my first time being chosen, belonging. Jenna, surprisingly, stopped her games before school started. By the end of the first term, we were friends, her sharp edges softened by shared laughs and late-night chats. My mannerisms, my voice, my every move had become those of a teenage girl, something Mom noticed with pride. She enrolled me in charm school 3 days a week, refining my poise, and it brought us closer, our bond deepening as we navigated this new life together. My room transformed boy clothes, banished to the basement, replaced by a growing wardrobe, a proper vanity, posters of boy bands, a few dolls, and a diary where I poured my thoughts daily. But one secret stayed unwritten. After Christmas, Logan started lingering around me, his broad frame and teddy bear charm hard to ignore. He asked me out, and I said yes, drawn to his warmth. That summer, though, things shifted. One night, caught in the heat of a moment, I touched him in a way I shouldn't have, my hand brushing too far. Guilt and fear tangled inside me, but Mom had a plan. She enrolled me in a program, and by my senior year, my body matched who I was, no padding, no pretense, just me, fully a girl. Logan and I grew closer, but he wanted more than I could give, and I wrestled with how to keep him happy while staying true to myself. It all unraveled when he started dating Chloe, a longtime friend. The sting was sharp, but I let it go. College brought new beginnings. In an English class, our professor challenged us to write something so outlandish, no one would believe it. I pulled from my diary, crafting a story of a boy becoming a girl, changing names to protect the truth. I earned an A, the professor chuckling that no boy would choose that path, not the way I'd written it. I bit back a laugh he had no idea. In that same class, I met Colin. His quiet wit and kind eyes drew me in, and we started talking, then meeting for coffee, then more. Tonight, I have a date with him, and as I slip into a dress, my heart races with possibility. But here's the twist I didn't see coming. As I was leaving for class this morning, a letter slipped under my door, unsigned, with a single line in sharp, familiar handwriting. I know who you were, Haley, and I'm not the only one. My breath caught, the world tilting. Was it Jenna digging up old wounds, Logan bitter from our past, or someone else watching from the shadows? I don't know yet, but as I head out to meet Colin, the weight of that note lingers, a secret threatening to unravel everything I've built.